Good evening and welcome to Monday Motivation. My name is Jabu Zwane, your mindset development specialist and your host for this evening. I hope you're doing well. Tonight we're going to be talking about mindsets. Actually, this is one of my favorite topic, one that I specialize in. And I think to start it off again, it's important for us to talk about descriptions. Many people understand mindsets to be whatever it is, but the way that I describe mindsets is in this way, that there are these structured categories of thinking that lead to an outcome, whether you are aware of it or not. It's about patterns. There's one philosopher by the name of Isaiah Berlin, and he said this, that to understand is to see patterns in one's thinking. Because really, this is how you and I, as human beings, are made. We are made to think in structures for a particular reason. I often ask this simple question. Imagine for a second, if you had no ability to store memories in your thinking, you would have to, every single time you want to do something, learn from scratch. And part of what the function of our memory is to store that data so that we can refer back to it and then be able to use it now in the present for what we are trying to achieve for the future. And this is what I want us to talk about. Do you understand and are you happy with the decisions that you're making on a daily basis? Do you often find yourself asking yourself this question, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that? Or wondering, how is it that you find yourself in the same situation over and over and over again? I'll tell you why. It is because of the mindsets. And we need to understand the types of mindsets that we have as people. That way we can better understand our thinking patterns, and that way we can do three crucial things. When you understand who you are as a person, you are able to manage yourself better as an entity. And then lastly, you are able to lead yourself better. People who understand themselves better are very good at self-leadership. People who have difficulty understanding themselves have also difficulty in self-leadership. That also means they also have difficulty in putting themselves under the necessary disciplines to achieve the things that they want. 7 types of mindsets is what we're going to be talking about this evening. The first 2 are from a book that is titled Mindsets, the Psychology of Success. It is by a Stanford professor by the name of Dr. Carol Dweck, and she just conducted this incredible research that took quite a bit of time, where they studied business leaders, they studied athletes, they studied politicians to actually understand what is it that makes certain people perform better than others, and why is it some people also experience the process of learning better than others. And she came to 2 conclusions, that there are 2 types of mindsets. One is that of growth mindsets and fixed mindset. I'll start off with the fixed mindset first. Fixed mindsets, she described them as the following, that these are a type of thinking that believes that human traits such as intelligence, even performance, that you're born with those at birth, and they kind of fix you to a certain path of success in life. For example, somebody who's got a fixed mindset would think that they're naturally intelligent, and they would perceive, for example, struggle as a reflection of poor intelligence rather than as part and parcel of what you have to go through as a human being. And what that basically ends up happening is that people who've got a fixed mindset then tend to shy away from what they know would be challenging and what they know would potentially lead to their failure, because they don't want to face the reality that they might not be as smart as what they think. And this is what is interesting also in one of the researchers. They found that people who've got a fixed mindset also tend to exaggerate their achievements. They're also more likely to cheat in an exam as a way of maintaining that status of high intelligence. On the other hand, you've got people that are growth mindset people. And these are people that understand that struggle is actually a source of learning, that to become better in life, it's okay to fail, it's okay to learn from your mistakes, it's okay to start over, it's okay to look at life and ask yourself, what else can I do better to be better? One of my favorite motivational speakers who's now passed, his name is Jim Rohn. He always says this, don't fight and ask for things to get better, but be better. When you are better, you can change your situation. Fixed and growth mindset. The book that I mentioned again is by Dr. Carol Dweck, and it is called Mindset, the Psychology of Success. Now, I'll talk about these 5 other types of mindsets, which are part of what I've been putting together for the last couple of years as the mindset development specialist. And these are sort of drawn from my experience as a pastor, pastoring multiple churches, traveling to many different countries, also as a coach, also as a business leader, as a community leader, as a father. In all the hats that I wear in my particular environment, I've come to understand that there are also these 5 other types of mindsets. The first one is dominant mindsets. Dominant mindsets are the categories of thinking that you and I build as we are growing up. This is everything from what our parents have taught us, for example, about money, about our ethnicity, about even in a country like South Africa that has a history that it has, about even colorism, people who are light-skinned, people who are dark-skinned, whatever those that formed part of your upbringing, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive your abilities, how you perceive others, how you perceive the environment around you, and the sort of conclusions that you're going to make then about life, which then affects and influences the decisions that you're going to make. Dominant mindsets. Do you know what those are? When somebody says to you that you can achieve far better than maybe somebody that you know or what you think you can, how do you process that? What is your default thinking? Oftentimes, you'd find that we are patterned from a very young age to think whatever we think about ourselves. The second type of mindset is transcendent mindsets. And these are mindsets that are formed, similar to the mindset, but these ones are formed by our belief systems, predominantly religious beliefs. So basically, these are the mindsets, the ways of thinking that don't submit themselves to the practical life. They don't regard too much of scientific reasoning. Simply, they concentrate more on the divine, on what is bigger than you and I are. It can be anything about the beliefs about money, it can be beliefs about marriage, it can be beliefs about anything really where you don't necessarily rely on what is practical, what is scientific, but you rely more on what your particular type of religion informs you about yourself, about others, about your environment, and about your abilities. Do you know what those are? Ultimately, how do you engage with your belief system? How does it help you? Does it help you to achieve the goals that you want? Does it help you to become more functional? When you are actively involved, submitted to the way of thinking, and you take certain decisions, what do those decisions look like at the end of the day? The third type of mindset is a positive mindset. A positive mindset, I describe it as structured categories of thinking that help you to achieve what you want in the most functional way. Let's break that down a little bit. Help you to achieve what you want. So when you are actively involved in whatever you're involved with, at the end of the day, do the outcomes match your intended purpose? If they don't, then you are being dysfunctional. And that is why I use the word functionality. So we spoke about a couple of weeks ago toxic positivity. And toxic positivity is those type of mindsets that don't necessarily help you to, you're being positive about something, but you should be sometimes cynical. The other mindset is negative mindset. And these are mindsets that sort of hamper you and hinder you. And they're premised around 3 crucial things: shame, fear, and guilt. Shame, which is about that sense of feeling inadequate. Fear, sense of your abilities not being enough to help you to achieve what you want. Lastly, guilt, which is about that sense of not being adequate morally, where you are constantly doubting yourself. And then the last one I talk about is the poor mindsets. And these are mindsets that are based on things like trauma, things like even ideologies that you have not tested. There are some fragments in the way that you're thinking. There are some loopholes in this way of thinking. They really don't hold water, but you have strong motivational or more emotional attachments to them, probably because of where they come from, who told them to you, and how you experienced it for the first time. That's why I mentioned the word trauma. That some people, because of trauma, they get easily triggered, and then they react and behave in a certain way, even though this may not necessarily be the best way. Now, those are the 7 different types of mindsets: growth mindset, fixed mindset, transcendent mindsets, dominant mindsets, positive mindsets, negative mindsets, and of course, poor mindsets. There's a lot more that we can say about this tonight, but we only have this much time, so thank you so much for tuning in. I hope these were helpful. Hopefully they triggered some thinking and it became helpful to you. Until next time, next week, as we continue talking about mindsets, my name is Jabu Zwane. Good evening.